For Crema Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me for Suttner's View, a weekly commentary on South Africa's political scene. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
Many people are concerned about the recent statements from the newly appointed Minister of Police, Fikile Mbalula, that his statements may be bringing back the militarized policing. What is your view on that?
You know, in South Africa, people have the idea, if you look at the discourse, that policing is really about being tough on crime. Now, the way, when you hear that word tough in South Africa, it seems to create the impression that we will hit back hard. And the language used by the minister the other day was on the borderline between legality and illegality. You'll meet fire with fire. You meet eye for an eye and all these sorts of things. Now, when you go and speak to the police, they like the fact that the minister says that there's too many police dying, and I agree with him. It's very important to cut down the number of police who are dying. But, you know, policing is not just about using force. It's only one element of police activities. When you face people who've got guns and they're threatening you, first of all, you've got to use minimum force to reduce the threat. But you also have other ways of dealing with the situation apart from using force. Police in South Africa are not known for non-violence. They're not known for mediating conflicts. And I think it's very, very important that the minister should not try, when he meets up with the police, to show that he backs them in a way that necessarily means that he backs them as being tough. He today used the word rough. Now, the image of the police, in my view, should not be rough. In Britain, you have this situation, the police have their controversies, but you have the situation where what they call the Bobby on the beat, the policeman or woman is in the street, and that person is not viewed with fear as South African police are. People will go over to the policeman or policewoman and say, you know, I'm a bit lost. Where is this and where is that? Now, the idea of going to a policeman in South Africa and asking for directions here, you know, they would say to you, what are you doing next to my van? What do you want? What do you want? You see, before you have a chance to say anything, they would say to you, stay away, don't touch my van, don't touch my van. You can talk to me without touching my van. Or, why, you don't have to come so close, because he's got a gun, he thinks you want to take the gun or something. And I think you've really got to, I haven't seen it, by the way, I'm just sort of extrapolating from my experience of police in general. And I think the minister has to set the example and not pander to this militarized notion of policing. When 1994 came, we took steps to demilitarize police. We made a Secretary of Safety and Security who was a civilian figure. And it's very, very important that the trust, not the fear of the population, the trust of the population must be won, and that means winning it through a range of ways. We must remember that when you have a crime reported to you, your first reaction shouldn't be to get your gun or to go to the gym, to have to hit hard. The way a crime is solved in conventional studies of detection work is through slow, patient building up of clues as to who it is who has done this and the other. Unless, of course, you're reacting to something that is happening at that moment. But if someone says, look, there's a murder, you don't just go and collect someone and beat that person up to get the information or not get information. The idea of slow detection work is not inculturated in South Africa now, as it wasn't in the apartheid regime. The apartheid regime had this thing called saturation policing, which has still been kept. You send large numbers of police to what are called trouble spots. For all you know, there's a whole lot of other places that are causing trouble, but it's like a habitual way of doing things. The minister must not feed into that. He must try to make the police into ambassadors of peace. Law and order, another word for law and order is keeping the peace, and that is what they must do.
Now, the minister also inherits a number of controversies like the IPID, the Hawks, Mdluli, the acting police commissioner, and others. Do you think he will be able to put some of this to rest?
You know, it was a bit ambiguous, but it appeared to me that the minister was saying that he doesn't want to waste money on fruitless appeals, and he was referring to Dhlamini being found to be unfit to hold the office that he was. And there was supposed to be an appeal on that, and it seems that he's not going to do that. And I hope that is the case, because it's very important that we should not have top positions, security positions, sensitive positions occupied by apartheid-era security police and other police, and especially ones who have been found by the courts to be liars, as was the case with Dhlamini. With IPID, there was constant conflict between the previous minister and McBride, the minister trying to remove him, the minister not following regulations in his appointment, a whole lot of other things. I hope that this minister, Mbalula, will observe the regulations and also enable IPID to do its work. If they do the work and it is found that the various people they are investigating are innocent, then they must leave them alone. IPID must leave them alone. Equally, the acting commissioner of police has got a whole lot of clouds hanging over him about the cars he got, about the house, the properties he's got, a whole lot of these things. And it's very hard to understand on the salary that he earns how he can do that. Now, it's very important that this gets cleared up as well, and the space must be allowed for proper investigations, because the Minister of Police must understand that he cannot operate with a tainted police force. And that would be my suggestion to him, that there are a number of ways of dealing with policing, and to do any of these, you need to have people of integrity in positions.
Thank you, Professor. That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Crima Media's Polity about policing questions.